Hey everyone, it's your girl, Miss Analytical, and I am back after a 2-day hiatus. So I'm about to come with you with a couple of content that I will be discussing. And before I get into this, I just want to make a acknowledgement to everyone that's been rocking with me consistently since the beginning when I uploaded this channel 4.5 years ago, and also since I came back consistently in November of last year. I want to say thank you so much. When I returned, I only had 17 watch hours. Now I have over 3,800, and I am less than 150 hours away from being monetized. So I have the subs. I just don't have the hours because, I had to go away and everything to take time off. But we're going to get into this tea and this story about Family Matters, Harriet Winslow actress Jo Marie Payton. And let me tell you something. This story isn't really getting a lot of traction, but I've known about this for some time. She just finally told the truth about it. And I have to say, thank you for finally speaking out. So I'm going to give you the official content from the Hollywood Reporter because they really break it down easily. Sorry if I said too much, but I'm going to drag it a little bit because what I'm about to say is not going to be PG-13. So from the Hollywood Reporter, it reads, Family Matters star Jo Marie Payton alleges Jaleel White tried to fight her while on set. The actress says the incident was a result of a disagreement over whether White could do something that might not clear with the network standards and practices department. Family Matters actress Jo Marie Payton alleges she and co-star Jaleel White nearly got into an on-set altercation during the filming of the show's 9th season. Payton, who played matriarch Harriet Winslow during the show's nearly decade-long run, told Entertainment Tonight that there was one time he actually wanted to physically fight me, referring to White, who played the show's instantly recognizable breakout character Steve Urkel, the Winslow's next-door neighbor. Payton, who said while White didn't have the etiquette on set that she and some other actors may have had, alleges that the incident took place while they were filming the 10th episode of season 9, Original Gangster Dog. There was something that he wanted to do, and I said, we can't do that. Standards and practices will not let that pass. It's not going to happen. He wanted to do it anyway. She said he was so mad, he started kicking and screaming and stuff. That's when Payton said she walked off, but as she was doing so, she heard White make a remark. She asked co-star Darius McCrary, who played her son Eddie Winslow, to clarify what White had said. He said something about she must want to fight. She must want to melee. I said, what's a melee? He said, a fight. I turned around. If you want to fight, I would. She told E.T., Darius McCrary grabbed me and I was going to whip his behind. The Hollywood Reporter has reached out to White's reps for comment. The Urkel actor has previously suggested there were on-set tensions between him and his Family Matters co-stars during the show's run. In an interview with TV One's Uncensored in 2021, White said that tension was due to him not being welcome to the cast at all. That attitude, according to several stars who appeared in an episode of E's True Hollywood Story, was in reaction to actors being told at one point by showrunners that the dynamic was going to change to make the show more about Urkel. And we said, okay. Payton said at the time, we weren't happy about it. I think along the way, it got to be a little resentful, but it was just an adjustment that we had to make. My arrival to Family Matters was a rocky start at the beginning, White said. They kind of had to accept that I was there. That was a process. Eventually, though, the cast came around, he says. over time, figured out that if you do this and I do that, we win. That's ultimately what evolved. And he did that. I had to do it. I had to do the Urkel. I used to do the Urkel voice all the time as a kid. And then the laugh like, I had to do it. So I'm going to go into a lot of factors. And even though this was a family-friendly show, I will be using some foul language. Not totally. But I will be using it within the context of the whole show itself and the article. First off, I lived through that era entirely. I remember when this show premiered. I remember when everybody was watching it. And I remember when they were going to cancel the show. This show was on the chopping block for the first season. They did get renewed for the second season, but there wasn't a clear point as to whether the show would last beyond season 2. What happened was two things. One, Jaleel White grew, Urkel, and that helped a lot. Laura, they became basically 14 years old. So they were teenagers and you could do more with their characters. Another thing that they did, they brought in, now they won't say it, but they actually brought in the little boy. They grew Richie's timetable, okay? So that helped out a lot. And they even expanded Mother Winslow's character. So you see, the problem I have with this is that, and this is not anyone's fault, but I blame the media. They expanded not just Steve Urkel's character. They also expanded Mama Winslow. They gave even more time to little Richie. They upgraded his character. The main problem was to build up Steve Urkel's character. One person was torn down and one person was hurt the most. And that was Jamie Foxworth. The beginning of first season, they had episodes that featured her, but they never utilized her character like they should. What they did was they basically had her there, but she was still doing quite a bit. But when Urkel arrived, and he was just a guest who was going to become a recurring character like you had on a lot of shows, they decided, okay, we going to make this cat the main one. He going to be the main character. Bad move. Because now what you're doing is you're cutting out a regular person. You can't cut out the daughter of the show. And she was there from the beginning. When you came, Urkel, you came, I think it was in episode 3 or 4, which is nothing, it's nothing bad. You know, it's a business. And I don't have an issue as a person who study acting. Like, listen, if you gonna come and save the show and you come in here and you need a regular gig, okay, fine. But listen here, what I'm not going to allow to be happen, you're not going to do this girl dirty and kick her to the curb for Jaleel White. And that's exactly what was done. Now I'm going to go back and discuss the zenith of the Steve Urkel character. The Steve Urkel character really started blowing up in season 2. Season 1, they chose to add him as a regular. But by season 2, this man had tie-ins meaning board games, dolls, a cereal, t-shirts. He was about to have a suspenders line. He had the bubble head doll that said, "Can I do that?" I mean, all of that. Like, you could not escape Urkelmania. And it bothered people like Jo Marie Payton. It bothered Reginald Vell and even Mama Winslow, because it basically took him away from being focused on his craft. And they wanted him to be a serious actor because particularly Mama Winslow came from the stage of New York City and not only created her own theater company, she lost a lot due to the red list of McCarthyism. She was blacklisted. She was considered a communist, and she wasn't. She was just for her people. So to me, I would say the biggest breakout star, in my opinion, was Mama Winslow character. And I thought that was big for her. And she should have gotten even more time as well. But it was all given to Steve Urkel because Steve Urkel and his family, they was down. They was down for whatever. Now, in season 3, he played a character. Or was season 2, he played a character called Myrtle Urkel. And he had to wear a dress. He didn't want to wear the dress, really. But it was Reginald Bell Johnson and and Harriet. They was like, you don't need to put that dress on. Just act. Why they got you looking like a girl? They kind of clown you out and so forth. And he even heard the words of that they was trying to break him. They didn't say bug break him, but they were trying to break him. His dentist father told him to put the dress on and sell it to the audience, and you will be a bigger star. He puts the dress on. He becomes a bigger star. And they promote him like that. And they were upset because they realized his parents were down and was pushing him and not really trying to protect him. Now, his father was very strict. But when it came to that business, he was about that money. And that was the beginning of the end of that real camaraderie on the show. That hurt them. And so that's when you had the voids coming. You had them not getting along. But still, Harriet Winslow's character, who the show was her spinoff. It was her spinoff. She's basically pushed to the side for a person who only had a recurring character role. You never saw his family. I want to make that clear. You never saw his family. You never saw this boy's family. And then they added other kids. They added 3J, which is Orlando Brown. And we ain't going to even go there with him. Then they added in season 4, they added Myra. I couldn't stand Myra. Her character. I couldn't stand her character. Then they added Sean in season 3. That was a good move. I liked Waldo. I liked Waldo. And then Rachel left. So it became a revolving door. But the saddest was Jamie Foxworth. Now, I'm going to get into some tea. The reason why Jamie Foxworth left the show, yes, she was written out, but it's not what people think. They didn't just write her out to write her out. Jaleel White used to pick on Jamie Foxx because Jamie Foxworth admitted this. She was picked on by this man. And what occurred was that one day she just got sick and tired of it, and she went to HR along with her mom. And HR was going to mediate the situation. They were going to handle it. Instead of it just being easily mediated, Jaleel White's father, the UCLA dentist, basically approached HR as well as the producers and was like, you're not going to let this girl come up to y'all about some sob story about how my son is picking on her. And what he would do, he would grab her hair. He would put water in her hair. He kept grabbing her hair. And he would like push her a little bit. Like even one time he even tripped her and she fell on the floor. So this is when the father threatened to have his son walk off the set if they was going to basically keep Jamie Foxx around. The father called her a liar. So what happened was The producers didn't want to give up their cash cow, which is Jaleel White. They didn't want it from their dentist father, who went to school at UCLA. So what they ended up doing, they sacrificed Jamie Foxxworth to keep Jaleel White. And that is the reason why when she went upstairs, the last episode of season 4, she never came back down. And that paved the way for the Myra Monkhouse character to be an official character for season 5. And that girl never had a chance. And it is what drove her to basically doing porn. And she only did a couple of videos of it. And when he found out about that, he was the only one that was not supportive of her. He rolled his eyes, was like, oh well, who cares? And that hurt. And that hurt me because I'm like, you got a big break off of a show that they wrote you in as a main character. And for you to do that to that young lady, to speak to her like that, and then he says he wasn't welcome to the cast at all. He was welcomed, but they didn't want you to take over, but they needed a hit. But see, these women, the ones I named, Thelma Hawkins is from the music industry, from Dawn. But she didn't have like a really beef with him, so to speak. Like he was close. His close friends was Eddie Winslow and Kelly Shaneen Williams, and Waldo, the man that played Waldo. But it just hurt a lot of people that what he did to her. So when it said that they were going to do the reboot, he didn't really care to do the reboot at all, but he was interested in it. Jo Marie Payton said, I ain't doing the upload, the reboot, unless Jamie Foxxworth's there. So now I'm going to go back to the incident that happened on season 9, episode 10. I'm going to go back because this is a very important thing. Remember when I had read that Jaleel White and Jo Marie Payton got into a fight? And remember I said that it had to do with an episode called Original Gangsta Dog. And that they were filming an episode and he wanted to fight her. He said he was going to melee her, meaning that he was going to fight a woman who's old enough to be his mother. And she was like, come on, let's get it through. She never filmed season 10, episode 10. If you look at her IMDb credits, she left. Her last episode that she filmed was season 9. Jo Marie Payton quit. And for decades, we all were trying to assume, why would you quit the show in the middle of the last season? And many people were saying, oh, because it was money. It was money. It was money. It was money. No. This man threatened her. He threatened to whip her ass. And she was ready to fight if he was going to do it. But she walked off, which was even more dignified. And right after that, they canceled the show. The show had another season. They could have had 10 seasons on the show and had a proper series finale. Even though it was canceled on ABC, this is when they went to CBS. She walked off. And that's when Judy, the lady who played Tisha Campbell's mother from Martin, she took over and she was on like the final episodes. He ruined the legacy of how that show could have ended. Jo Marie Payton should have been there. He threatened her. And I think he did it because he didn't want her there. So it's sort of sounding like a situation like Fresh Prince with Janet Hubert. It sounded like a Janet Hubert situation. So I believe her Because why would you quit? And I believe her. I believe her wholeheartedly. If it wasn't for this woman, there wouldn't have been no Family Matters, Jaleel. And if it wasn't for Family Matters, you wouldn't have had that upstart on your career because you were struggling. This woman is still current. She's still doing the voice for the Proud Family. This woman has how many credits on? This woman has 61 acting credits. And that's not even counting her stage work. Okay? I don't think she's on a Tyler Perry movie, but she stays booked and busy. Let's see what Jaleel does. And then I'm going to sign off on this. I'm going to end it right there. Jaleel White. Okay. Okay, so he has almost 100 credits under his belt. But the thing is that with the money that you was making, you should be getting your own show. You should be co-starring and headlining your own show. You should have been able to go into the movies. You should have definitely had your own sitcom. Like a real sitcom or a dramatic role. And he never got that. So he never reached his zenith past. His zenith was Family Matters. It was Family Matters. But with all that, you should have been doing bigger things. You should have been doing bigger things. But hey, sometimes it doesn't work out. Or sometimes people hear about people's antics, and that's the reason why they don't want to deal with you. It's a sad business on that part. But with that being said, I'm going to sign off on this because I know I've been talking a long time. It's my insomnia that's kind of kicking in. But I'm going to talk to y'all later because I'm coming back with a commentary. It's going to be real short about Chris Rock later.